So you want to get good at Rainbow Six Siege. I get it. I too was once hard stuck. In fact, I was hard stuck gold for almost 2 years playing the game every day after school. Now normally in my videos I script them and talk in a professional way while giving you tips that a toddler could understand to get money to pay for my rent. But this video will be one of the most genuinely helpful and raw videos that you will ever watch on Siege and how to, no bullshit, actually get good at Siege. So like I said, I was hard stuck gold for almost 2 years. Naturally the question would be, what did I do to get unhard stuck? Well, the first thing I did was genuinely try to just learn more and learn better. How exactly did I do this? Well, when I was in middle school, my brain wasn't all that developed, so I thought if I played the game more, then I would just get better. But just playing the game more was one of these slower ways to actually get better. So I asked myself, what should I do to get better faster? And the answer to that, funny enough, was just by learning cheesy and cheap tips and tricks. Because it didn't matter if the enemy team had better mechanics and movement than me. If you know invisible Capcan trap exploits and unbeatable Azami pixel peaks, you too can hit Emerald. To be able to do this, often watching content creators like me is going to be your best bet. We'll teach you every spawn peak, lineup, and angle you can use and abuse, but the unfortunate truth is that none of this technically makes you better at the game. So once people realize this and they move past this stage of their life, they move on to the thing I moved on to, which was aim training. In most people's minds, aim training is the best logical step because they see people who are better than them with better aim and think aim must be my issue because I have worse aim than them. I'm gonna tell you something no one else has the balls to tell you. Aim is probably not your issue. In fact, it's over 90% of people's least thing that they have to worry about. What you should really be focused on mainly is game sense and awareness. Before even touching the shooting range, go to every map and walk around just looking at your compass to learn the name of every room. Memorize each room and its callouts, and after playing more games, memorize what people push typically and how they set up. There are usually default takes and holds, but this is where the next type of improvement comes, and that is just understanding. Sure, you may know where to push or how to set up the site, but do you know why? Do you know why you put a reinforcement on this wall and a rotate on this one? Why not put a rotate on the other wall? Why not reinforce the one next to the other one? Most people don't actually realize why they make the site setups the way that they do or why they open up the walls that they do on attack. They just do it. The best way to find out why good players do what they do is to simply watch good players more. For example, I sucked at attacking Cafe. I would just drop red hatch, get the wall open, or just bait outside of windows, and we would always lose. I hated Cafe, but once I learned to get the red wall open so that we can take Piano, which allows us to cover every defender rotation, I then got better. Because I had seen people open this red wall and people play Azami and Piano, but I never really knew why either of them did those things. But now that I knew, hey, they did all this because piano control is important, I now know that I can use piano control to cut off the white hallway, the freezer rotate, the bathroom rotate, and essentially cut the site in half. I know that if I have piano control, I can safely plant, and because I simply learned why I did what I did, I became better at that site and at that map. And that's just one site out of 64 different sites that you can learn to defend, and 64 different sites that you can learn to attack. Each bomb site has 2 default ways to attack it as well, one default take and one backside take. Each take has 2 routes and one lurk that defenders typically run, so learning that made me able to predict people more, allowing me to always be able to control the right angles. To show you what I'm talking about, I'm going to bring you onto what is one of my best maps now, which is Cafe. I'm going to bring you to the first floor. Now, like I said, most people don't know why they open up the things that they open up. For example, people will open up this double door as they're attacking on Bakery. But do you know why you're opening this door? Well, obviously, it's to push Bakery, but why do you want to push Bakery? Why do you push this room? Why do you not push Small Bakery? Why do you not push Coat Check? Why do you not take Vert? Why do you not push Restaurant? The reason you want to push Bakery is because, hey, there's a site wall here. And opening this site wall allows me to get angles on the bomb site. I can have a teammate sitting here cutting off any rotations from defenders while I get the bomb down in front of my wall. Having the wall open allows you to get the bomb down and get into site easier, and it allows you to cover your bomb once you've left. That's why opening walls are important. You get cutoffs, you get the bomb down, and you cover your bomb. That's why you do it. But a lot of people don't even realize that. And like I've said, there are 2 different pushes that you can do on attack to be able to push the bomb site. There's always a front side, and there's always a back side. Most people will just do a Bakery take. They'll get 2 people outside Bakery, they'll get 1 person on the Small Bakery window to cover their flank, and then they'll try to just force their way into prep, not even getting this wall open, and then they'll just try to get kills and maybe get the bomb down. That should never be your mindset. Not only is this wrong, but you you can also attack from the backside, which nobody really does in lower elo. And honestly, it's even easier to push the backside on this map. All you have to do is get this freezer wall open here. And once this wall is open, you just have a teammate covering your plant right here. Typically, there's a bomb chassis right here that you cover behind just like this. And then you easily just win the round. You might have to get the hatch open along the way, but that's neither here nor there. You get the idea. There's either a front side or a backside take. When people do front sides or backside takes, typically, as a defender, you need to know where they're going to do it from. So for example, if I'm a defender and I'm sitting behind a whiskey and they're doing a backside take, where should I be looking? I know they could push me from code check. They could push me from the reception double. They could push me from brown stairs. They could push me from my restaurant window. They could push me from white. Where do I look? Well, for this play specifically, most people, when they clear you out, will try to get on the restaurant window to take restaurant control. Later in the round, when they have vert and they've cleared out your roamers, they might come down brown or red stairs, but typically they're going to push backside by taking this window and by taking white stairs, clearing out Christmas and restaurant, and then getting the wall open. If you're a defender and you know that they push from this window and from this door, all you have to do is keep your crosshair on that window and keep your crosshair on that door. That's why when you watch really, really good players play the game, they always just seemingly know where to put their crosshair because they've played the game so many times that they just know where attackers will typically push or where defenders will typically defend. Continuing this train of thought about why you do the things you do, I want you to watch somebody that's good at the game. Someone like Spoit, for example. When you watch Spoit, isn't it funny how he just seems to know where everyone is at all times? I found that fascinating when I was learning, and I also found out that the majority of the time I was dying was because people were shooting me from behind, or I was dying to people I didn't know were there. That's how I knew that it had to be something due to my awareness and not my aim. I mean, it was so simple that my dad pointed it out to me when he was watching me play, and he doesn't even play FPS games. So how can I be so unaware and people like Spoit always be so aware? Well, like I said, this ties into predictability, like I was talking about with the cafe example I was just talking about. But if you know where they're probably going to push, you can win more. But it also ties into a huge part of Siege and how to get better, which is our next topic, positioning. Positioning is the most important aspect of Siege that can make or break if you're good or not. Not aim, not hardware, not game sense, and hell, not even map knowledge. Positioning is your ability to position yourself in an advantageous position. The first part of positioning being where you're physically standing. Where you're physically standing heavily matters because it's the determining factor of whether or not you have cover and you're going to get shot in the back or not. For example, people love to hold this angle on the top floor of Oregon. If you've watched any Jinxieverse 1v1, you've seen this angle before. It's a good angle, but most people don't realize that you shouldn't be positioning yourself on this angle a lot of the time. In early round, it's fine to do because you know no one's going to be on white stairs. But if it's late in the round and you don't know if anybody could be on white stairs because you have no information, positioning yourself here is a terrible idea. But if positioning here most of the time is a bad idea, why do people do it so often? Well, typically they're in 1v1s doing this angle, and they know because they have barbed wire on white stairs that they don't have to worry about this angle, so they'll hold it. So where you position yourself and where you hold angles from what exact location, you need to determine heavily dependent on where the enemies might be. For example, sitting in games and holding the door might be a better idea to you because maybe they are on white stairs, right? Maybe you're taking my lesson into account and you've repositioned yourself to games. Well, if the wall's open, that's a terrible idea. They're gonna shoot you from the wall. If there's a window behind you, that's also a terrible idea. That's why people have adapted to breaking this and holding a shotgun close to the door, because there's not a single place unless there's head holes behind you that they can kill you from. So positioning in terms of where you're standing is heavily dependent on the angles that can look at your position and where the attackers are. Expanding on that idea, you also never want to be positioned in a place where you're exposed to more than one angle, even when you're attacking. Let's say I'm going into dining and I'm attacking kitchen trying to roam clear for the basement. I should at no point be walking around like this if I haven't droned my right, because then if I try to fight somebody in kitchen and I take that gunfight, somebody from my right could swing me. So the only time I ever want to swing this door is if I'm covered from that door by crouching here or even standing here and then swinging it and clearing it. And then once I've cleared that, then I can check this door, then I'm going to check this corner, and then I'll expose myself to this door and check it as I'm exposing myself. But notice, for every angle I went over, it was only exposed to me when I was aiming at it. For example, I check this, but I'm not exposed to any other angles in kitchen when I check this door. Then once the door is clear, I check this angle, but I'm not exposed to any of these angles. So you're constantly positioning yourself based off of where you think the enemy might be and what cover is constantly around you. Now that we've gone over those tips, let's go over the final part of this video on how to actually get better, and that is crosshair placement. Now, when I told you earlier that you care too much about having good aim, I seriously meant it. No amount of hitting red balls in the shooting range will make you closer to becoming stompin'. The best mechanical skill that you can develop to become more mechanically consistent and to get your KD up isn't shiko peeking, quick peeking, crouch spamming, movement, flicking, or even tracking. It's actually the easiest one to train, which is crosshair placement. I know that may sound ridiculous, but I have 2 pieces of proof to prove this to you. First of all, I have my own experience. I noticed that I was getting the most amount of kills in my Siege career and had the highest KD when every gunfight I was taking, I focused on my crosshair placement. Not only this, but I was also able to get myself from hard stuck gold to eventually hitting diamond in the span of 2 seasons by literally just practicing my crosshair placement. A lot of the people you watch that you think have good aim don't, or at least not really. Most pro players actually have average aim aside from prodigies like Bolo or Ambi. Most of them instead just have good positioning and good crosshair placement. I'd argue that even you, the viewer, might have better aim than some people who are in Pro League. I remember being in gold watching Pro League and thinking, these guys have worse aim than me. How are they in Pro League and I am not? The answer was because I was too focused on aim, when in reality it's actually the least determining factor in your ability to be good. The least. And that is the no BS guide on how to get good at Rainbow Six Siege. With that out of the way, my name is Alka. Check out this next video, and I'll see you there.